This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
You know, that's just one step above stupid. Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just...
All right. I think I'm on now. You guys hear me, or something weird just happened there? That was. How's it going? Yeah, something just happened with OBS. Just kind of froze. There's a newer version out, but I don't want to use it yet because it still doesn't have a few of the elements that this one does. What do you mean it's not working for you? Just start it over, Zozo. God, everybody, it's really obvious. It's not like a... Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so here's what we're going to do later in the show. I'm going to talk about a couple of cases here first, but, you know, later in the show, what you do is, I think if you just email me a short, concise theory, and I mean short, not like, you know, I don't know what it is, if it's girl code or what, but you guys like to write these novels in an email. Just send something like, boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then we're going to put it up on the screen over here, and we don't even have to have a name on it, and then we're going to go over it to see if it, you know, what elements don't work with it. So here's the thing, is like, I've never seen a case where every theory that sounds even reasonable gets derailed almost immediately with a fact that is already available. It's really pretty weird, you know. The email is, hold on, got to turn on my, yeah, it should be in there. Come on, mods, get going with the, yeah, there you go. There's one right there, grayhughes2@gmail.com, right there. But make sure the theory makes sense, you know, don't just kind of go, ooh, I got one, and then just throw it in. I mean, have something that you think makes sense. And by the way, all of the wacko crazy channels are now covering it just like I thought. So it always makes me nervous. You know, it's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. I mean, just wild beliefs and things that are being said out there. I mean, a whole show based on, that's not even her in the store. Yeah, right. It's just right there in the Kanika Jenkins playbook. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay. All right. I don't know what the deal is, but man, it's always the same people that go, ooh, here's another big one, let me get my foot in the door really quick, and then how about you cover other cases too, like a million others, and then switch over? Like, I mean, it's mind-boggling, really. It's scary. I mean, there's people, they don't give a shit about anything other than just how many more views and subs can I get. I'm just covering the case because I've been covering it since the 21st. One of the first YouTubers talking about it. I mean, I don't know anybody else that was. I mean, even though the case started on the 11th, you know, you saw a couple articles here and there, but it became bigger, like right around the 23rd or so, like that. But yeah, it's pretty creepy how they all do the same thing. It's I call it sub-mining. It's like gold mining on YouTube, where you find the stream that has the most views, and then you switch over to that. I mean, you're like, these people never cover just Joe missing person. That never happens. And there's a reason why, is because the viewers don't watch those things. So that's what's sad about it. But at the same time, it's kind of like your responsibility to do so. All right, let me switch over now. I don't have the notes up because I'm not going to be talking about Debbie's case right off the bat here. All right, let's do the Kemberly Raymer case from 1997. Or it's actually, 1997, August. She was a missing person. Hey, thank you, Sarita. And by the way, I sent out 18 notebooks today, so if you were supposed to get one and you didn't get one at some point, let me know, but wait a week or two. The ones that you send to England are like ridiculously expensive in Canada, so I'm going to have to figure something else out with that. And Australia. They don't have a book rate. In the United States, you send a book anywhere in the United States, it's $3.50. You send a book to England, it's $19, a little notebook. I mean, it's it actually lose money on the ones that go to England and the ones that go to Australia, Canada. Yeah, it's sort of a wash almost. But. All right, let's see. That's the truth. All right, here we go. So this is back in 1997. Looks like in Alabama. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy price, but it's pretty cheap in the United States. I'm just saying they don't have a book rate to send to England. It's just what it is, There's no Christmas tree in Sue Raymer's house this year. Miss Raymer would rather sit by the phone waiting for news about her missing daughter than decorate her home for the holidays. On weekends, she takes walks through wooded areas looking for her daughter or her daughter's body. I wake up with it on my mind. I go to bed with it on my mind, she said. I can't get through the day without crying. After 4 months, if you're not interested in this case, go write your theory somewhere and then send me an email, okay? After 4 months, the 6,900 residents of Op, located between Enterprise and Andalusia, I'm not sure exactly where that is. Op, Alabama, man. What a weird name. Jeez. I wonder what would have happened if I had lived there during the Kenneka Jenkins case. They called me an op that lived in Op. All right, hold on. I gotta get her name in there. Okay, this is where she lived. So she's missing, a missing person. Miss Raymer was last seen on Saturday, August 16th, leaving her boyfriend's house in her car at about 11:45 p.m., headed for her father's house where she lived. Now, everybody, given the state of true crime today, would all think the boyfriend had something to do with it because her car she was last seen at her boyfriend's house, right? We believe she drove back home, said Ray Ziccarelli, special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Investigators with the FBI believe she disappeared sometime between midnight and 5 a.m., leaving behind her car keys, clothes, money, and her contact lenses, which family members say she couldn't see without. Kenneth Raymer said so it's interesting. So she made it home, probably was even sleeping or something. Kenneth Raymer said he wasn't worried when he saw his daughter wasn't home the next morning, thinking at first she might have spent the night at her mother's house. He said he noticed his daughter's bed was a bit more rumpled than usual, but there was no conclusive signs of a struggle and no signs of forced entry into the house. Late Saturday, we were beginning to get a little bit worried, Raymer said, but Sunday afternoon, for sure, we knew something had happened. Raymer insists his daughter wouldn't have run away, saying that despite her parents' divorce, she was happy and looking forward to attending college in Mobile. All we want to know is some news of her, whether it's good or bad, Raymer said. It's never off your mind. Hey, thank you very much, Amber Maiden. How you doing? Hope you're gonna get to have your procedure on your mouth soon here. Or jaw, really, not mouth. Probably made it sound like it was cosmetic. No, she's getting something happened to her jaw where it's, she needs to have a reconstruction, like a piece of the jaw put back in. So we're all hoping that she gets taken care of. The first doctor bailed like a coward, so I'm glad you got one. Yeah, total jaw replacement, yeah. I mean, that's, well, one thing you could look at, Amber, is you're going to be bionic, right? Do they have, like, what do you call it, hydraulics in there? Like, like that, it's, yeah. Yeah, these are crazy stories. Op is keeping Miss Raymer in mind, too, as yellow ribbons flutter in the wind on the doors of downtown businesses and car antennas. For the first 2 weeks, a lot of senior girls were numb, said Principal Walter Pyron. It wasn't the normal excitement about coming back to school. Student Carrie Morgan, a friend of Miss Raymer, said she doesn't feel as safe in Op as she used to. I don't ever stay at my house by myself anymore, she said. So this is 4 months later. I couldn't find any articles early when she was missing. The FBI is treating Miss Raymer's case as a kidnapping and is not releasing any information on possible suspects or motive, but Zaccarelli said agents are hoping that $5,000 reward offered by the government and a $20,000 reward offered by the FBI, and that's a huge reward by the FBI back in 1997. But for the Raymers, every day is an eternity as they wait to find out if their daughter is dead or alive. I hope to God we find out. And there's the parents, probably just ruined their lives right there. And there she is on the table right there. And there was another article in 2006. Tipster says teen's body is in a sinkhole. A drive team is searching a sinkhole near Ponce de Leon for an Op teenager who disappeared 9 years ago from her father's home. Authorities are following up on a tip from an anonymous caller claiming to know the location of Kimberly Raymer, probably a psychic, said Alan Ducote, an FBI agent with the agency's mobile office. As of Tuesday afternoon, the search has not recovered any remains from the sinkhole in Ponce de Leon, which is about 300 feet wide and 50 feet deep. Where the hell is that? I wonder if you can just see it. Nothing just kind of sticks out there. Okay, well, let me get to the next one. We'll probably be searching for 2 to 3 days. Then on August 2nd, the search of a sinkhole near Ponce de Leon, Florida, for a missing op teenager has ended without any findings. But the media coverage spurred people to call in with new leads in the 9-year-old case, an FBI agent said. Authorities ended the search around 1 p.m. Tuesday, said Alan Ducote, an FBI agent with the Bureau Mobile Police Office. Mobile Office, I mean. Divers spent a total of 35 hours searching the sinkhole for Kemberly Raymer's remains. Since the search began Tuesday, Ducote said several people have called with leads in the case that we were never aware of before. There are some promising leads, he said. Ducote declined to elaborate on the new leads. Raymer disappeared from her father's home on August 15, 1997. Earlier in the day, the 17-year-old had played softball and spent time with her friends before running home. And in 2007, police seek answers in decade-old case. In the late summer of 1997, 4 days before Kimberly Lorraine Raymer, a dark-eyed teenager with the long brown hair, was to start her senior year at Opp High School, she vanished. 10 years later, her disappearance from her father's home in Opp on August 15, 1997, remains a mystery. The last time anyone saw Kim Raymer was about 10 p.m. on that Friday, leaving her boyfriend's residence to return home, which was about 5 minutes away. 2 days later, on August 17th, her parents reported her missing. Reports at the time said she left her personal belongings behind at the home, including her eyeglasses, her contacts, jewelry, and money. So it almost seems like she was in bed already and had already taken off her glasses, her contacts, and everything. And man, that's crazy. And then you would start being suspicious of the family, right? Like, oh, she came home. Well, maybe the dad, that's how people are. That's how it is on social media. And, it's not really that unreasonable to start thinking that, because she is home and there's people living there and somebody gets abducted right under your nose. That's pretty crazy. She would have left a note for me, her father, Kenneth Raymer, said in an interview following her disappearance. I was always reminding her to leave me a note. I even brought home a big stack of notepaper not long before this happened. Despite many pleas from her parents and offers of rewards from the FBI and the governor of Alabama, the case is still unsolved. Let me see what page this is. 2, so 27. Yeah, I think that's probably it. So it says, the FBI still considers it open, said Mike McDonald, Opp Assistant Chief. In December of 1997, the Raymers held an emotional press conference and begged for the public's help in locating their child. Somebody knows something, Kenneth Raymer said in an interview. His wife echoed the thoughts and begged for information. They may not think it is something important, or they might be afraid, she said. Please give us information if you have it. Over the years, there were tips and leads and searches, but nothing to bring any closure for the family. 9 months after Raymer's disappearance, investigators searched a rural lake in Walton County, Florida, acting on tips that her body was there. The search lasted 3 days and turned up no clues. In 2001, a nonprofit group from Texas, I wonder if that's Texas EquiSearch, searched Baptism Hole with cadaver dogs and got several hits. They dug up an engine block with a rope tied to it and had to leave the site before they could excavate it completely. The next day, the FBI thought its own dogs, which gave no indication of smelling human remains, and no more searches were conducted. So their own dogs didn't find anything either. Again, in 2006, investigators searched the sinkhole near Ponce de Leon, Florida, for Raymer's remains after receiving an anonymous tip, but that, too, didn't turn up any evidence. We still get tips every now and then, McDonald said. At the close of 1997 press conference, Sue Raymer issued an appeal that remains unanswered 10 years later. I appeal to the person who has not come forward, she said. You can remain anonymous. Please help me find my daughter. See, the thing is when you have a missing person, there's really no closure. Like, you just... I mean, there's no closure anyways, but there's never, like, a time... Like, every single second of every single day, you've got this huge weight. It's actually better to find the deceased body quickly, you know, than to sit there for decades with this weight heavy on you. It's a freaking nightmare, is what it is. But then there's this article. They must have found her at some point, but I couldn't find the article. DNA found under a girl's fingernails in Lawrence cold case murder. DNA matching Marvin Skip McClendon of Alabama was found under the fingernails. Her name is just in this article. Of 11-year-old girl killed in Lawrence in 1988, a prosecutor said. McClendon, who was 41 at that time, was known as angry, violent drunk who frequented strip clubs and had relations with women in the back of his van. One sec. Hold on a second. I've got a... Where was the one I was looking at? Yeah, I think it was this one. This is the one I was at. That's another... I think that guy might be related. Let's see what this says. This is...
There are hints today that charges are nearer than ever in the agonizing disappearance of an op-teen. 24 years after Kemberly Raymer vanished, a grand jury is apparently considering whether to bring those charges. News 4's investigative reporter Ken Curtis is in our newsroom now with what we know about these dramatic developments.
Yeah, we tried this again. Good afternoon. Taylor, an 18-member Covington County grand jury has heard testimony in the past few days. Testimony related to the unsolved and unsettling disappearance of Kemberly Raymer.
In Opp, Alabama, not a day goes by without thoughts of Kemberly Raymer. On a hot August night in 1997, she went to a ball game, visited a friend, and then headed to her dad's to spend the night. Her mom, Sue Enfinger, will never forget the phone calls she received from her former husband.
Is Kemberly with you? And I said, well, no, she's supposed to be with you. He said, well, she's not here.
Kemberly Raymer, with perhaps a struggle, disappeared. Hundreds of leads hit dead ends. Kemberly's family accepts that she's dead. But what they need is closure.
Day after day, with no sign of Kemberly and nobody knowing anything. Oh, it was horror.
Now comes word that in Andalusia, a grand jury is hearing evidence. Evidence that could lead to the arrest of Kemberly Raymer's killer. Covington County's district attorney won't talk about that testimony. Walt Merrill telling us while the report of a grand jury is public information, state law forbids him from discussing in any detail evidence presented to a grand jury.
Now, Mr. Merrill does say that grand jury will reconvene on an undisclosed date. Witnesses who testified before the grand jury are also not allowed to publicly discuss those proceedings, Taylor.
Ken, let's chat about this story a little bit longer. Do we have any idea if there's new evidence in this case?
Well, DA Walt Merrill hints there is. He says multiple law enforcement agencies in 2 states are working hand in hand on this investigation. In fact, he said in a statement, without this joint cooperation, the likes of which we've never experienced before, notice those words, the progress made so far would not have been possible. Also in his statement, he expresses confidence that there will be justice in this case.
Amazing how long it takes.
And Ken, do you believe that there is or is a specific suspect that investigators are honing in on?
Well, Kemberly Raymer's family have told...
Are you a nurse mama? I got to send you the Freak Heart mug.
Or has told me they have had suspicions of a former family member all along, though they won't publicly name that person. And speaking unofficially, investigators have long said they also suspect the same person. But what they have not had is enough evidence to bring charges. Perhaps that is about to change.
Perhaps, Ken, after nearly a quarter of a century, that family
indeed.
can have some peace of mind.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything. What happened? 2020. Oh, that's her right there. That's pretty crazy. So let's see what the Charlie Project wrote in here. Kemberly attended a softball game on the night of August 15, 1997 when visiting her boyfriend and other friends. She left her boyfriend's house sometime between 11 and 11:45. Been some discrepancies on that. The other article said 10. To return to her father's residence, which was about 5 minutes drive away. She was never seen again, and none of her shoes disappeared with her. She vanished 4 days before she was due to start her senior year of high school. She planned to attend the University of Alabama and major in physical therapy. Kimberly's parents reported her as missing person at 9 a.m. on August 17th, 2 days after she was last seen. There was evidence of a struggle inside her bedroom, and it is possible that she was taken against her will. Foul play is suspected by both the police and Kimberly's, it's K-E-M, not Kimberly, Kimberly's family. Her boyfriend and all of her family members have been ruled out as suspects. Her personal belongings were left behind at the home, including her eyeglasses, her contacts, jewelry, and money. 9 months after Kimberly's disappearance on her 18th birthday, investigators searched the rural Walton Lake. They were acting on 2 tips that her body had been dumped there. The search lasted 3 days and turned up no clues. 2001, a nonprofit group searched baptism hole, nothing there. September 2006, investigators searched a sinkhole near Ponce de Leon, Florida for Kimberly's remains after receiving an anonymous tip. So that's her right here. That's like the worst age progression I've ever seen. Like, she's very pretty in all of these, and then they make this one look like I don't know, just not very good. Hey, thanks, Lanky Tour. You know, why not, at least when you do the age progression, you know, help them out a little bit, you know. Yeah, so that was just a quick one. There wasn't really a lot of articles in the newspaper, but it looks like there's some more recent ones, so I might have to take a look at that. The other article I started to read, it appeared that it came, I did a search on her, and it came up, and it sounded like but I remember it saying that they found skin under a fingernail, so then I was thinking, well, how could they have done that, because she's never been found, so I'm not sure how that happened, but there you go. Ridiculous. I mean, there's so many of these cases like that out there, where somebody, and she apparently, it looks like maybe she was abducted, but she was either abducted or somebody did something to her in the house that knew her and took her somewhere, because that is pretty bizarre, you gotta admit. Like, you're in a house, an adult, and you're sleeping, and then somebody breaks in and takes you out by force, and you're never seen again. It's a weird one. Yeah, it might have said something. I don't know how he worded it, DT Joe. You have to go back and watch. Now, let me just listen to that one more time here.
There are hints today that charges are nearer than ever in the
received from her former husband.
Is Kemberly
to spend the night. Her mom, Sue Enfinger, will never forget the phone calls she received from her former husband.
Is Kemberly with you? And I said, well, no, she's supposed to be with you. He said, well, she's not here.
Kemberly Raymer, with perhaps a struggle, disappeared. Hundreds of leads hit dead ends. Kimberly's family accepts that she's dead, but what they need is closure.
Day after day, with no sign of Kemberly, and nobody knowing anything. Oh, it was horror.
Now comes word that in Andalusia, a grand jury is hearing evidence that could lead to the arrest of Kemberly Raymer's killer. Covington County's district attorney won't talk about that testimony. Walt Merrill telling us while the report of a grand jury is public information, state law forbids him from discussing in any detail evidence presented to a grand jury.
Now, Mr. Merrill does say that grand jury will reconvene on an undisclosed date. Witnesses who testified before the grand jury are also not allowed to publicly discuss those proceedings, Taylor.
Ken, let's chat about this story a little bit longer. Do we have any idea if there's new evidence in this case?
Well, DA Walt Merrill hints there is. He says multiple law enforcement agencies in 2 states are working hand in hand on this investigation. In fact, he said in a statement, without this joint cooperation, the likes of which we've never experienced.
See, here's the thing. Did they really just chat about it right here, off the cuff? I doubt it, because there was a graphic ready to go.
Before, notice those words. The progress made so far would not have been possible. Also in his statement, he expresses confidence that there will be justice in this case.
And Ken, do you believe that there is or is a specific suspect that investigators are honing in on?
Well, Kemberly Raymer's family has told me they have had suspicions of a former family member all along, though they won't publicly name that person. And speaking unofficially, investigators have long said they also suspect the same person. But what they have not had is enough evidence to bring charges. Perhaps that is about to change.
Perhaps, Ken, after nearly a quarter of a...
Well, there you go. That's it. So what does that mean? It was the father, the former family member, or, you know, I don't know what that means, actually. I mean, he'd still be a family member, though, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be a former family member. I'm not even sure what that even means, former family member. Aren't you always a family member? Unless you're a step family member of somebody, then you get divorced, you're probably not considered. You know, like if you're let's say you have a daughter, and then they have a husband, and then you get divorced, you wouldn't consider that person part of the family anymore. So there you go. Pretty weird, pretty wild. Well, it sounds like they're onto something, but now it's been another year. So it's amazing how long things take. All right, I'm just going to randomly go. Now we're on to a different case here. This is the one of, it's a teacher, Michelle Reynolds. And let's just go through this. I have different articles. They might be out of, different dates and so forth, but I've been storing them up, so we'll just read them. Whatever order they're in, that's the order they're in.
Department is now joining in the search for an Alvin teacher who's not been seen since Thursday. This is Michelle Reynolds. She teaches reading and language arts.
I think this one is just that she probably has some sort of a some issue going on, and then she went to visit somebody or something, and she's, I don't know, it's hard to say, but she definitely has a mental issue, it sounds like.
Arts at Fairview Junior High. The district says it is assisting her family, quote, during this difficult time. If you see Michelle or might know where she is, please call police. New Orleans Police Department.
All right, so a vehicle belonging to an Alvin ISD educator who hasn't been heard from since last Thursday, was reportedly located more than 570 miles away in New Orleans, but authorities say they're still looking for her. Like they've seen her on video. Michelle Reynolds, 48, is a 6th grade reading and language arts teacher at Fairview Junior High in Alvin and was reported missing by her husband. The Brazoria County Sheriff's Office said Reynolds was last seen driving the located car at a Lexus RX 300 with Texas license plate number RSV 2914. Deputies said no known contact has been made with family or friends since she was reported missing. BCSO said it is coordinating with the New Orleans Police Department in this investigation. ABC 13 reached out to Alvin ISD, which sent the following statement. The safety and security of our students and staff are utmost important. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's see what this one says. This one is missing Houston teacher's car found in New Orleans. She's still missing, though. Texas EquiSearch, and there's an interview with Tim Miller out there. I saw it. Texas EquiSearch has released information on a teacher missing from Alvin Independent School District. I think I have her in here. Hold on. I did have her. My Windows crashed at one point. Or this program is really buggy, so it might not be in there anymore. Okay. Oops. Yeah, that's how many people were watching? I missed that. I didn't even see it. Reynolds is a 6th grade reading and language arts in a middle school in Alvin Independent School District. It doesn't say teacher here. They left out a word. She's 5'10", 175 pounds. Blonde hair and brown eyes. It's unknown what Reynolds was last seen wearing. And this is the school where she works, Alvin Independent School there. Yeah, let's see what this video
happening now. The search for a missing Alvin teacher has moved to New Orleans. The husband of 48-year-old Michelle Reynolds told KHOU 11 News her car was found there. He says she was last seen on Thursday. Now, Alvin ISD is confirming that Michelle is an employee at Fairview Junior High. Her husband says she's been teaching 6th grade there for 8 years. He tells KHOU 11 they have 3 children together and that he's currently in New Orleans looking for her. If you know anything about Michelle's disappearance, please call the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office.
And the search continues for the Alvin ISD teacher who disappeared last week. 48-year-old Michelle Reynolds' husband found her vehicle in New Orleans.
Yeah, now Texas EquiSearch is joining the investigation.
That's right.
Annie Ruiz.
Texas EquiSearch is one of the, we need to give, next month I'll probably send some money back into them. We've sent them, gosh, I don't know, I would say close to $20,000 over the last 3 years.
He joins us live in Alvin with the very latest tonight. Annie.
We sat with Tim Miller just a few hours ago. He said he received a call from Michelle Reynolds' husband asking him if they could help in the search yesterday. Tim Miller agreed, and today they had a chopper up searching the Mississippi area.
48-year-old Michelle Reynolds was last seen on Thursday in Alvin. That's when Tim Miller says she disappeared. Her car was found in New Orleans by her husband, who also found a video of her.
We actually got...
Hold on.
And the search continues for the Alvin ISD.
New Orleans, leaving everything behind.
We know that she left her purse with her driver's license, credit cards, everything, and along with her cell phone in her car.
Now Tim says they're planning on getting a team to New Orleans.
Purse with her driver's license, credit card.
Near a church and walked away, leaving everything behind.
We know that she left her purse with her driver's license, credit cards, everything, and along with her cell phone in her car.
Now Tim says they're planning on getting a team to New Orleans to search the area.
Which my concern was it's pretty close to the Mississippi River. So I got a helicopter up today. In fact, I just got the video back. The helicopter flew about 20 miles along the river just to see by chance if she's in there. They didn't come up with anything.
They want to trace back her steps after she parked her car.
We know that Michelle was confused at this time. You know, we really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so it sounds like she's having some sort of a issue mentally.
Joining in the search for an Alvin teacher who's not been seen since Thursday. This is Michelle Reynolds. She teaches reading and language arts at Fairview Junior High. The district says it is assisting her family, quote, during this difficult time. If you see Michelle or might know where she is, please call police.
Teacher has been missing for
13.
Oh, man. Maybe later.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News starts now.
Now at 11, Hurricane Ian, now a monstrous Category 4 storm.
There we go. It's on that one. For days, Michelle Reynolds, a teacher at Fairview Junior High School, Alvin, Texas, is missing after last being heard from on Thursday, September 22nd. That's only 6 days ago, according to her school district. The 48-year-old woman teaches reading and language arts at the school about 25 miles southeast of Houston. Alvin ISD has reached out to the Reynolds family and has been assisting the family during the difficult time. After going missing, her car was found in New Orleans, so she drove that. New Orleans is more than 350 miles east of Alvin. Sounds like it was like 500 miles. It's unclear why she may have been in New Orleans. Reynolds is described as 5'10" and has a thin build. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that would... 5'10", 175. I'm not sure if you'd call that thin. It's just sort of normal, right? She was long blonde hair and brown eyes. Her students are worried about her and want her back safe in the classroom. I don't know if they have any, surveillance video.
Well, there is now surveillance video of a missing teacher from Alvin ISD.
It's really grainy.
Her car was found in New Orleans.
Fox 26's Dominique Keith live in Alvin with this update.
It's Kemberly.
Yeah, Michelle Reynolds is a teacher here at Fairview Junior High School in Alvin. She's been missing since Thursday. Her car has since been discovered there in Louisiana. And now what's believed to be surveillance video of her there in New Orleans on Friday getting out of her car. That surveillance video has now surfaced. This video from a New Orleans business is giving updated information about 48-year-old Alvin ISD teacher Michelle Reynolds after her family last saw her in the Houston area Thursday.
We did get surveillance of her actually parking her car on St. Peter Street at 12:01 Friday afternoon. And then kind of what direction she was walking. We know that St. Peter Street is pretty close to the Mississippi River.
Shortly after receiving word about the new video, Texas EquiSearch put a helicopter in the air searching the banks of the Mississippi and the river itself for any sign of the missing mother.
We're going to be flying probably about 20 miles down the river, low flying, and we've had a lot of success, recovering drowning victims with the help.
Yeah, the thing is, when she got out of that car, she left her wallet and everything in there. So that's the part that makes you think she, self-harm situation, right? Like, she gets out of the car and she never comes back to the vehicle, but what would she have purchased? Wouldn't you just at least take your phone with you or something? But she left every single thing in the car other than herself.
Helicopter.
Michael Reynolds told me the New Orleans company gave him the surveillance video after his wife's gray Lexus was found
not
near
everything's
there.
A serial
the
killer,
Fairview Junior High School teacher is said to be perhaps not in her normal mental state.
Hopefully she's confused and she's wandering around over there and somebody's going to see her and we're going to get her back safe. That's certainly the goal.
Now, Michelle Reynolds' purse, along with her license, credit cards, and her cell phone were all found inside her vehicle. Now, Mr. Reynolds says they are still canvassing businesses there in New Orleans, trying to find better surveillance video of her. If you have any information about where the missing teacher is, Brazoria County Sheriff's investigators and New Orleans police detectives want to hear from you. Reporting live in...
Did you give the number, though, on your... Let's see. Now, there you go. If you have any information about where the missing teacher might be, contact the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office at 979-864-2392 or the New Orleans Police Investigators at 504-821-2222. All right, so it's right there on the screen. If you're somebody, oh wow, I just saw her and you just happen to be watching, didn't know. right. Well, I hope somebody locates her. It sounds like Texas Equisearch is there. If anybody can find them, they can. They are the they're the original Adventures with Purpose on land, except they actually have morals and ethics. That's where the difference is. Like Texas Equisearch doesn't do the shit where they run around and start wildly speculating all over the place and showing bodies and, you know, whether blurred out or not. Hey, thanks, Charleston Amy. Yeah, I said that. She left everything. And thanks for the PayPal earlier. I don't know if that's what she was doing. Boo. It's hard to know. I mean, I've looked at the, you know, there's just nothing, there isn't enough information on the case. Like, if they really want it to spread out, they got to give out more information to let people, you know, put things together. The problem is, though, the more information you put out, the more the crazy people come out and start putting out every wild theory that you could possibly imagine, and then it starts hurting the case, you know. Just like what's going on right now, even in the, specifically the Kylie Rodney case. And now it's starting to creep into the case of Debbie Collier, right? I mean, now it's just filled with crazy people. They're not willing, you know, like, I'll talk about the theories, but when you have something that's disproven, you don't keep going with it, right? Oh, thank you very much. Karen White. Let's see. I'll use whatever your... I don't know how to do it now, but I'll just put that name in there. You don't have to say who you are on there. It's hard for me to tell what somebody... Thank you very much. On Cash App. Hardly ever get those. Okay. Alright, so Mysterious Monkey. We're going to do in the Debbie Collier case, if you heard the beginning of the show, what we're going to do is something where, and by the way, see my little Zen guy? I've reactivated this guy, okay? That might keep me, you know, mellow during this. Let's see. I don't know. You guys remember that, though? Those are the old days, the old days. So here's what I want to do right here. I'll show you. Here's a theory that somebody emailed me just now. Okay. And I'm going to put it in here. And I think I probably have to... Does that work in terms of... No, I got to do different. So probably like this, and then takes a second to get it where it all fits in there. Okay, here we go. So here is this theory right here. Debbie planned suicide. She drove far enough away thinking she wouldn't be found or found quickly. The "they won't let me go" text maybe refers to her demons, life struggles that she was battling. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that. I mean, that's definitely, you know, there's nothing in that one there's nothing to argue against what you wrote there. The only part that's the "they" part is that's why, you know, total speculation on, and that's what we're doing when, you know, we've mentioned that. They won't let me go. Maybe those are demons. All right. It's like, I don't really have anything to say on that. What I'm looking for, the theories that people have that are the ones like, you know, let's open up the statement again. I'm going to go over to a different folder here. This one, right? Yeah, so here's the Venmo, right? This thing, I'll have to show you on a different screen. So the Venmo is, they are not going to let me go. Love you. Maybe I should put that. Hold on, let me move this over to. Can I just put it right here? Look at that. And that way it's always on the screen. We can just have it right there on this one. They're not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key. You know, so there's people, and it kind of makes sense. You know, just, you know, in terms of maybe the Venmo itself isn't necessarily nefarious at all. Like people say, they're not going to let me go. Love you. You know, they're not going to let me go. Like they're not going to let me go to something like an event or. So here's the thing. The football game was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Debbie is at 3:09. She's over there at the Family Dollar. Right, so let me just show you this. The football stadium is right here. Okay, that's where the team plays. They lived right there. I mean, it's not even, I don't, what, maybe 5 miles at the most. 4.95 as a crow flies. It's right there by their house, basically. So, you know, then she, though, is way up here, 70 miles up here, and she's over here at 3:09. It takes an hour and a half to drive back. So that would put her back in town at 3:39, or 4:39, excuse me, which is, you know, you're already missing the game. I mean, the game starts at 4 o'clock, right? So how does that even make sense right there? You talking to me, Jay? Do we got another troll in here? What's going on? Why is there one every single night? Like, get with it. Hold on one second. Let me go check this out. Hold on a second. Let's see. What do we got? Looks like a total douche. All right, so we're gonna get rid of him, hide him on the channel. All right, awesome. All right. Probably looking to get some subs. I'm in the hurricane. Oh, and by the way, yes. By the way, people that are in that hurricane, I'm sorry I had to go through it. What a nightmare. I mean, absolutely just one of the worst things. There's like boats going down the street. So anyways, if you have a theory, make it short and concise and send it to me in an email. Okay? Yeah. Okay, here's another theory. Let's put this one in here. I might just, it's hard to fit them all on those screens, so I might just do it differently here. Hold on. Let me just do screen grabs. It's probably easier. They don't fit in that little notebook. That's why I said make them short. But okay, here we go. Says the daughter's boyfriend contacted Debbie, okay, and asked her to take him to the rehab, which she's supposed to show proof of being enrolled in, but we don't know if that's the one he was supposed to go to, right? In, let's see, in soon as one of his conditions from his last court date. I'm not sure what that means. I think Debbie was possibly going to surprise her husband. I mean, see, look at, these are like all these possible this and if this and that. That's where you already start losing me at that point. I think Debbie was possibly going to surprise her husband at the game after taking the boyfriend to Victory Home Rehab. So then she drove another 15 miles. Why not just go back into town and buy the tarp and stuff in town near the stadium? Which explains the items she bought. Not really. I do think he was in the van, or she dropped him at the spot and he told her to come back for him. So she dropped him off at this weird drop-off spot instead of just taking him to the rehab facility. Not sure. He freaked out and decided not to go. They got in a fight. He sent the Venmo and used items in the van. The back windows were very tinted. He may have been even told her he wanted to go on the run to camp out there, and she brought him the items to stay dry and start a fire. She was meeting someone. I mean, I don't know. Come on. She was meeting someone we don't know about for some reason. Oh, this is another theory. She was meeting someone we don't know about for some reason there, or was lured there, car trouble, and was attacked there. I mean, something like that is more possible. The suicide, the things that bother me is where her clothes, purse, phone, shoes, and why wouldn't she purchase an accelerant? Oh, she did have the lighter, right? And she probably just didn't know, you know? She probably thought, oh man, if I light up these paper towels and I do all this, and I'm just throwing some things out there. Okay. Anyways, the first part, there's no chance on that one. Okay, and then this is one that was out there on a post somewhere. It says, there's a campground about 5 minutes from there, River Falls. I camp a lot there. A lot of folks from Clark County camp there too. Most tags either say Clark or Oconee County. I was there Labor Day weekend, and that was the first Georgia game of the season, and everyone was out there grilling. And they were out watching the Dogs, you know, the football team, on their big screens outside their camper. That game was supposed to be rained out. It was, let's see, that game was supposed to be rained. There's no such thing as raining out football, okay? Just letting you know. It would make sense for her to have bought a tarp, paper towels, and torch if she was going to the campground. Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean. But what was she doing up there? Like just meeting some random friend to go to a campground? Let's see where Clark County camp is. What did they say? It was about 5 minutes from there. River Falls. Okay, River Falls. Alright. So here's River Falls right here. I guess that's a campground maybe? And people pull in their trailers and I don't know, it just seems kind of convoluted to drive 70 miles up there. It does seem like, you know, when you think about the items, you know, there's people that use tarps for tents, and then there's people who, you know, you wear a poncho in the rain, and, you know, paper towels. It almost seems like somebody, if she did buy these things, either she made a list or somebody said, hey, can you pick these up? Because this is what we need. But then you got to ask yourself, she's in the store at 3:08. What happened by, okay, and then what happened in 8 minutes where she's saying, they're not going to let me go? Was she responding to a text message that her daughter sent? And here's another thing, everybody. that I was thinking about, and other people have been talking about it today, was that she doesn't seem. She seems absolutely freaked out in the text message or the Venmo message that said, "They're not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key in the house." You know, you read it like that, but if she was having a conversation with her daughter that was something so mundane as, "Hey, earlier in the day they're talking. Hey, let's go to the game. Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. Let me go check with my boss, my bosses or whatever." And then she writes back and says, "Oh, they're not going to let me go. Love you. Hey, tell you what, here's a key to the house. You can go watch the game. You know, the blue keys in the flower pot," and then send her some money that she was already going to send her. Why would Amanda be freaked out? I mean, the they part, like we've talked about from the beginning, was that it almost sounds like they know that Amanda knows, she knows that Amanda knows the they. But in this scenario, where it's really mundane, like, "Yeah, they're not going to let me go. Love you. Hey, there's a key in the blue pot by the door, da-da-da-da." Why would she be upset about that? It would just be a continuation of a conversation, right? Like answering a question. "Hey, are they going to let you go?" "Yeah, they're not going to let me go." I don't know what your theory is, Melanie. Send me an email with your theory and I'll put it on the screen. See, but I just debunked the theory. Why would Amanda be upset with the "they're not going to let me go" when she should just know exactly what it means? She's sending it to her daughter. If it was non-nefarious, it was just a part of a conversation, Amanda would have been freaking out, or not freaking out whatsoever when she got the message. She'd go, "Oh, really? Oh, you can't go. Oh, crap. Hey, well, thanks, Mom, for the money and and the key to the door." Yeah, but you got to send it really quick, Melanie. All right, let me get to the all right, let me do this one. This one might fit in there. Just a second. All right, here's another one. It says, "My theory, I think she committed suicide. There was no evidence of anyone with her that day. I think she set it up to look like she was murdered. So her life insurance..." Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of people think that. Yep. I'm looking for the ones that have these alternate theories. Because she's purchasing the implements alone minutes before. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is I think the logical explanation is that she did something to herself, and it's also a little bit verified that law enforcement might be on that same path because they changed it from a homicide investigation to a death investigation. And that's whether you want to believe it or not, that's pretty significant. And don't forget, you guys, we're on day 28. In 2 days will be the end of the month. And on this channel, some people don't like the fact that I donate 50% of the net revenue to charities, and others think it's great. But when you send in super chats and become channel members, every month there's an income that comes in. And last month, I actually donated $5,000 from the channel's revenue because of the generosity of all the freaks. All right, so if you feel like you can afford it and you want to help out my channel that allows me to keep doing the shows 3-4 hours every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, well, minus maybe 2 or 3 days, then I would appreciate it. Yeah, but I don't know, Mag, what if the husband, so we were talking about the other day, the husband, maybe he wouldn't let her have a key, and there wasn't a key that was hidden. Like maybe she never hides them at all. But she knew that she was killing herself, so she put the key in the flower pot by the door because she wanted her daughter to have it. Yeah, I don't really care about if the father was notified about that. You know, it doesn't change the elements. What did he do? He saw that and then he jumped in his car and drove an hour and a half and then caught her in the middle of the road and... Thank you, Tiffany. That's one I read that earlier myself, though, so it wasn't one that it was like, ooh, wow, good point. Here's what I want to know, though. When you send a Venmo, it obviously is probably similar to just a regular text message. Like if you don't have good cell phone reception, it probably doesn't make it through. So I guess, I mean, is it possible that that she may have sent the Venmo earlier and it just never showed up until 3/17? Yeah, it just doesn't make me think anything differently. Yeah, who cares? I mean, if the father got a notification, it was an hour and a half away. He wouldn't know anything. Yeah, it's a crazy one. Huh? I don't know what you mean, Mom of a Gladiator. No idea what you're even saying or anything. Oh, you mean your heat? Let's try to turn. I don't know. I don't know. That's something that's... Well, if my heat doesn't work like that, if it got to the point where it wasn't working, you might want to check your breakers in the garage. Maybe it got turned off accidentally or something like that. Yeah, but what if he did see it right away? What difference would that make? Let's say he saw the Venmo at 3:16 or 3:7. What was it? Yeah, 3:17. Why would that make any difference? He would have to drive an hour and a half to catch up to her and say, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And then, if you're not saying that, you're going to say that, oh, she drove all the way home, and then he got so angry, and then he drove her almost exactly back up to the same spot where, I don't know, it's just... Yeah, the daughter drove around looking for her, yeah. I don't understand what... I mean, she claims that, so, I mean, that you can kind of put her, you know, that's an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, driving around. Yeah, but see, if he got that, maybe it bothered him too. Or maybe he didn't think it meant as much, but maybe when the daughter was like, what does that mean? The part about, you know, where he said, let me move over here too. Because this is kind of like the key piece here, this part. Yeah, here's one thing I do want to bring up, though, is that I think there's been some just horrendous reporting going on here. I really do. I think there's no evidence whatsoever that law enforcement ever said that they've ruled out suicide or kidnapping. They never said that. They said they have no evidence to suggest. And that was before the surveillance footage, okay? And I'm telling you that I just can't find anything at all. And yet you see these statements made, and it's mind-boggling. It's almost like they want it to be something, so by God, they're going to say it. Yeah, like this one right here. What is this right here by Law and Crime, everybody? Look at this. What is Law and Crime doing right here? Body cam right here. Just forget all this part. Bearden's mother, Debbie Collier, was found dead, burned, and tied to a tree. No, that isn't what happened. Well, I'm reading it for you, Zozo. Okay, can you hear it or? Oh God, we'll go over here. It says right here, was found dead, burned, and tied to a tree. No, her hand was grabbing the tree. You remember that? So how does somebody put this in here? Oh my God, she was tied to the tree? Well, of course that's murder then. Does that bother you? I mean, I just don't understand what is going on here. Like, what's the craziest thing you can try to get away with? Yeah. It's unreal, right? And then there's a couple another one. Hold on, I sent it to this guy that I was emailing. Yeah, another one says investigators quickly deemed the manner of Debbie Collier's death a homicide, but have not yet revealed. That's on Fox News. It says investigators quickly deemed the manner of Collier's death a homicide. No, they didn't. They didn't quickly deem it a homicide. They said that they haven't been able to, like the wording was something more like, there's no information to suggest that. Well, I actually have the full quote. Hold on, let me get that from yesterday. That's right here. At this time, there's no evidence to suggest or support that this incident was related to kidnapping or that this is a suicide. This was put out like on the 22nd or 23rd. The surveillance was obtained on the 23rd in the that day. So we don't know. I mean, that information would have suggested, and that's why, guess what? After the surveillance footage, they switched it from a homicide investigation to a death investigation. And that's important. Yeah, that's such a weird comment that they made yesterday. That Amanda, there was some tip that said Amanda was at the store. What in the hell would that be? But that was before everybody was doing their wild speculation. Yeah, but see, stuff like that doesn't mean anything, pancakes. Because here's the thing. Nobody saw the mother leave. They're just basing that off of, hey, we don't see any purses missing. She must have just left with their ID card and debit card. Which is weird, right? Because she actually brought her phone and stuff like that. But they don't know. They weren't sitting there when she left. And that's the reality of it. Nobody saw her leave. Her husband saw her car there in the morning when he went to work. Yeah, I'm sure you won't, niece, even if they tell you, right? Like if law enforcement comes out and says, yes, it's a suicide, will you believe that? No. See, that's you are exactly what the conspiracy channel love. They love people like you because then you can have a channel that'll say, hey, and I'm not even saying it, I don't know what it is. I think the information that we have right now is much more stronger for a suicide than a murder. Okay? Much more. Yeah, you can actually tell the story without having to do too many mental gymnastics telling the suicide story. When you tell the murder story, you have to convolute all these different things and speculate wildly on various things, and that's the problem I'm having with it. Okay? I'm not saying it's not a homicide. I'm saying right now the information is heavily weighted on the suicide angle. That is what I see. Now, if you don't see it that way, That's great, but I think law enforcement just started seeing it that way too by switching it to a death investigation. What do you mean, why was the tree there? When it fell, I'm so sick. Why was the tree there? Yeah, there you go. Hey, what Mag just typed in, those are exactly the questions I can't stand. And there's people in here that ask those types all the time. And they know who they are, right? Yeah, it's hilarious. It's like, why was the tree even there? When it fell, did it make a noise? I'm so sick of so many. They're ruining trials, true crime channels. We need more grays. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, there's questions people ask that are absolutely meaningless, drivel stuff, almost attempting to create something. I don't really know. It's scary, but that was pretty funny, Mag. That was a good one. Why was it raining the same time? Why was it raining when the cops got there? Did you see that? Well, the cumulus stratus clouds were hovering above, and just the right temperature mix created an event where water particles started falling from the clouds and hitting them in the head as they stood there. Yeah. Well, of course they're investigating it properly. Yeah. They started off saying it was they're looking at it as a homicide. Now they've switched because that surveillance footage was a devastating blow to the murder theory. Okay, it really changes a lot of different things. Okay, it changes a lot of things. All right, so what do we have to do to get these super chats running in here? We're gonna have to do something, a game. I don't have one. Sorry, guys. I already gave you my public service announcement. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. All right. I guess it was the way, what was what I read? What? The tree could make a difference between her dying at the exact spot or being dragged. Come on, we're here to figure it out, man. I'm just here to learn, and I'm curious and ask questions. Jesus, that's ridiculous, Ashley. Let's see. What about meeting someone somewhere, Gray? Yeah, people say that all the time. What about meeting someone somewhere? Let me just ask. Okay, so here's the thing. If it's murder, well, what if we just remove the text message from the story, the Venmo? Pretend that there's nothing, she went somewhere else and then later said, you know what, I can't go on that trip with you or whatever. I can't go. They're not letting me go or something. So she went and did something else. And maybe she was going to go meet somebody up there. And then you got to ask yourself, so forget the Venmo. The Venmo was just, she's about to go to where she's going. And so then she just sends the Venmo. There's no meaning to it. Like, she just sends the Venmo. Like, hey, I couldn't go to the thing that we were going to go to, blah, 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 blah. Here's some money. The money I was going to send you earlier. And, the money part is kind of an issue, right? Like, wow, that's a lot of money just to kind of be randomly sending. So just get rid of the Venmo other than the fact that it happened. So pretend that there's nothing nefarious whatsoever about it. But here's the thing. How do we do that? That's the thing is, how do you do that when it was clearly nefarious to Amanda, the person that it was directed to? She sends the Venmo to Amanda. She took that as, wow, somebody's got her. They won't let her go. This is crazy. It didn't complete a conversation that they were having. But let's just pretend for a moment that it is meaningless. And then work from there. Let's see what happens. Thank you, Tina Susser. and Agony Jones. If daughter set up to meet drug, yeah, but I mean, it's such an incomplete anything, Alifair. Come up with a theory, type it in, send it to me, and then I'm going to put it up on the screen, and we know all the facts that are known out there in the public right now. And it's amazing in this case how no matter what you say, there's something that doesn't quite work with that. Now, here's something, but the thing that would work is something that you have to say with a lot of speculation. You could say something like, all right, she was going to go meet somebody up in Clayton, around in that area. They asked her, and here's the thing, the items that she's buying, if there's no text messages or a phone call that she would have got that from, how did she think of buying those things? So those are things they're looking at too. Oh, here's a text from somebody asking her to buy those things. Here's a phone call. Let's see what that was about. Okay, so anyways, she goes up there and somebody needs her to buy these items, and the text message is totally unremarkable, except for the fact that Amanda freaked out, and she shouldn't have freaked out if it was unremarkable, because she would have understood the context of the Venmo message completely. But anyways, then she goes off to some event that's over there. Then somebody attacks her, and there's two people, and then they drive her vehicle. Instead of they do something to her, let's say, and then they drive her in her own vehicle, and then there's a car following. They bring her to that spot. They, however they killed her, we don't know the answer to that. Sounds like there was drugs involved, and then they leave her there. And they dispose of her clothing and various things. So you can make something up like that, but you're just inventing stuff. There's no information whatsoever that leads to that. But you get what I'm saying? I just came up with a viable theory, but it's all invented stuff. You'd have to believe that Amanda pretended that they are not going to let me go, love you, was freaked her out, but it really wasn't. I mean, how would she think of something like that? That is never would happen. So to me, it seems like the text message likely wasn't sent by, it just gets really complicated all of a sudden. Either the mother didn't send it, or she did, but it seems more like she did send it because of the timing of it. So you'd have to believe in 8 minutes after leaving the Family Dollar, somebody abducted her, or, and then took her phone and cleverly knew that there was going to be a key in a pot. And there was a blue flower pot. Somebody followed Debbie all the way up there, 70 miles. She didn't know it though, right? Well, thanks, Lanky Tor. Lanky Tor is you're almost a bot, you know that? Except I would never say the stuff that you say in a bot. Yeah, well, what doesn't it drive you nuts, fishing in the dark? We went over for another one for an hour. 2 other cases in an hour. If you want to go watch those, Fishing in the Dark, just hit the rewind button. I don't know. What difference does it make? Yeah, I mean, of course, if you have somebody sign on, you could do that. Well, what do you think, Fishing in the Dark? Type in what you think. I'm getting a little bit. There's just new information today. Apparently, there was a .23 caliber, which I think is AR-15 type of. Let me get to the correct. It's ammunition for an AR-15. This is from today. One day before she was found burned, Debbie Collier bought items that were found next to her body. Yeah. On the day before her partially burned body was found at the bottom of the embankment, Georgia mom Debbie Collier visited a dollar store and left with a number of items, 2 of which, a tarp and a tote bag, were found next to her body. What about the lighter? I mean, if the lighter's not there, that would be... here's what I would say. If the lighter's not at the crime scene, then it's a much more interesting story. Because that means the actual lighting fuel source, it's not like she learned how to click rocks together and start a fire by, maybe putting a shoelace through a twig, like a bow, and then putting a stick, you know what I mean? So if they don't have the lighter, that's a big deal. A huge deal, really. The Habersham County Sheriff's Office has released surveillance footage from the Family Dollar in Clayton, which shows Collier, 59, entering the store at 2:55 on September 10th and leaving 14 minutes later. And then, it's actually, 14 minutes later at 3:09. In the footage, Collier has been seen in a maroon shirt with number 34 on it. So Herschel Walker, I think it's more red than maroon, though, don't you guys think that? Hold on, I'm going to get the video out. I actually made a video of it, so...
Recording stopped.
Yeah, by the way, the phone lines are open if anybody wants to call in. I don't know where the numbers are, though. Hold on. Yeah, they're not there. Maybe on this one? Yeah. I think those are good. Alright, so what I did was I edited it a little bit. So here we go. Maybe I'll do the middle monitor. That way you can see it. It's bigger. There we go. Now here's what I did. I used this. I don't use it too often, but you know how the camera's kind of moving around because somebody's actually holding the camera and filming this right here. And so it's a little bit shaky, but I applied this filter in Adobe Premiere that smooths it out. So it's really smooth. And then I kind of zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's red, it's not maroon. I don't know where they're coming up with that. And you can see all the items that she's purchasing. She was going to go, oh yeah, and then obviously she was looking for her ID and her debit card, and it was in her pocket. Okay, so it wasn't in the purse. She was like, oh yeah, it's in my pocket. Maybe she bought the purse on the way up. Who the hell knows? Anyways, so look at right here. This is what she's doing right here. So the lady starts to bag up her stuff, right? And then she's like, no, put everything in the tote. So there's nothing weird about... She wanted everything in the tote, okay? So they start packing everything in the tote. First the lady was going to put it in the bag, and then she says, no, put everything in the tote. And then she puts everything in there. Now everything's nice and, everything fits right in one bag. Then she finishes her thing, hitting next, don't need a cash. And now they're waiting. Now the person behind the desk over there has a bite to eat. And then I think Debbie says something to her that's funny because she kind of laughs right there. You can see a smile on her face with her cheeks. So she's laughing at something. The receipt comes out. She ignores that and just walks out with her bag. And she even looks in the bag again. That's interesting. Something extra. Watch right here. Her hand goes apart because she's looking in the bag to make sure she has everything. Like she's probably checking it out. But you see how She pulls away, and then right there, the Habersham County Sheriff's little logo is blocking it, but you can see that she spread the bag open right there. See how she's got it held open there? So she's looking in, probably to see if she's got all the stuff that she needs. And then somebody else shows up. Who's that other guy? God, man, you almost hate showing anybody. You want me to just play it once without me doing anything? Like, here, I'll just do it right here. Yeah, the legs definitely don't look the same, do they? I've never even thought it looked like the daughter at all. So I don't even know where people see. People want it to look like the daughter because it makes it a more interesting story. That's why idiots watch channels like, Perplexed or whatever. They watch the trash that's over there because they like to talk about drama, bullcrap that doesn't exist. Okay, we don't do that here. We try to actually look at the information and figure out what's going on. It's an absolute embarrassment. The stuff that people like. It sucks. Alright. So, there we go. It's just all the stuff being put in the red tote. So, and then it's weird how she wanted to make sure, I didn't even notice that before, but she was definitely making sure that everything that she got is in there. Is there anything she's missing that she might need? It doesn't look like she's consulting a list of any kind. It's almost like it's just in her head. Well, I was thinking maybe something like that, Deborah. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. You know, the poncho was just an idea that I had about maybe what she was using it for. I don't know. Seems like a gift. What? A blue tarp is a gift, man. What are you talking about? On Christmas Day, you get a nice little package, you open up and you get a blue tarp? Wouldn't you just punch the person right in the face at that point? When Collier's husband and daughter filed a missing person report for the Athens woman on September 10th, they said she had left her house on September 9th with only her driver's license and debit card. Yeah, come on. Come on, nurse mama. A gift? The hell would want that? Chose the red tote because it matched her game day jersey. You think so? Maybe. I almost thought when she walked in that she sort of glanced at the other tote bags that were by the door and then sort of was like, nah, I don't want one of those. Let's see. Like she comes in. No, she doesn't. Now here's one thing we were talking about. So she comes in, door pushing her in, and then she pauses. Where was that? No, it's right here. So right when she's coming in, she looks down at the key fob, it looks like, in her left hand and does something. And then the door starts shutting, then she comes in. Okay. I might have to, maybe I'll look into a different type of program. It does that all the time. I even looked up the reason why. I think you have to turn off something and remember to do it every single time because it always does the same thing. Unless you do it each project, you have to switch it. So hold on. I can't even tell if anybody's even still here yet because I can't see anybody. There you are, there you are. Alright, well thanks for waiting around, some of you. The screen's dark because I gotta get things set up here. Oh, it looks like the chat's still working, so I don't have to fix that. Awesome! I hope that the wheel information. I think I'm at the end of the show. I might have to start over and get everybody here. Jeez. Brutal. Who went shopping and bought curtains and furniture for a new home. Self. And the unveiled herself that same night by hanging herself. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, you know, like I'm saying, I think it's most likely a suicide situation. And I think that's, you know, maybe where law enforcement maybe is going in that direction now, but now there's a .223 caliber found at the scene, and they're saying, hey, was that what was used to force her down into the area? And it was found 30 yards away, and it wasn't a shell casing, it was a bullet. You know, full unfired bullet. So where, you know, what does that even mean? I don't think it has any significance at all. It's an old logging road, so there's probably people that would pull over there, drive down there, and, you know, do some firing of a gun against maybe the stump of that tree or whatever the hell it was. And, you know, it doesn't mean a damn thing. Doesn't even make any sense. And by the way, unless she was shot, that .223, unless they can somehow trace the bullet and then what lot it came from and the exact carton it came from, and did so-and-so buy that exact, you know, that's the only way you could tie it, because it wasn't used in the crime, it doesn't sound like. And right now the phone lines don't work either. I could try doing Skype, but I don't really want to do that. It always rings and it's loud. Her phone being missing is a huge point to murder. Man, not really, Deb. Man. A lot of people, when they commit suicide, don't want to have their phone with them. It almost feels like she went out of her way to not have anything with her that could identify her. So she doesn't have her purse with her. She doesn't have, and you know, killers do the same thing. They don't want somebody to identify her. But here's what a killer would have done. They would have taken her vehicle and driven it somewhere. Then they never would have been able to, you know, it just would have been completely, she probably would have completely decomposed there over time, because nobody would have gone down there and found her. And so that's the thing, is the fact that her car is still there makes it seem more likely that she put it there, not some other person. And if somebody else got in that car with her and drove her there, how did they get anywhere? They're 57 miles from home once they're right there, if they're from back in Athens. Yeah, she does have a purse on her in the video. Doesn't just look like it, she does have one. Yeah, we know that. We just went over that. Nat for plum, we just did that. How long had the show been going on prior? What does it say for you guys? What are we at right now? This feels like it's going to be one of those real cold nights again. What are we on? Hour, and I've lost all of that information. No, wait, 140. There we go. Wait. Why does it say 235 on the top there? Almost like it's going to cut off in an hour. Yeah. That about the poncho? Don't know what that means. You know, the poncho, you know, a lot of the elements does seem like something where she's buying items to be outside, right? But wouldn't she buy, maybe she wanted to buy the poncho too for what she was doing. I mean, I don't know, you know. We don't have any information. Okay, here's one. Starts off with, I'm not sure how Venmo works, but if she was on the same account with her husband, would he also get notification? We just talked about that. Maybe she was sending the message so her husband would be alerted something was wrong. She never said Amanda. Well, that's true, but well, that's true. She never did say Amanda. But she's sending the Venmo to Amanda, so Amanda's going to be getting it. All right, so whether or not the father got the message or not, but, you know, she's still sending the Venmo to Amanda, who's going to be getting the message. But maybe she wanted to go to multiple people, so you send it to Amanda. Well, every time she sends something to Amanda, it goes to her husband too, probably. Maybe she was sending that message so her husband would be alerted something was wrong. But what is she's saying? I mean, she's not really saying anything. She never said Amanda, and she was letting him know there was a spare key, so maybe he would remove that key. Oh, I don't. That sounds, you know, maybe, you know, I guess. Hey, they're coming. Make sure to get rid of that spare key in the blue pot that they knew nothing about until I typed it in this message. The killer knew nothing about the key in the blue pot until I typed this in. That's why we put it there, because it's hidden. Yeah, we've already seen it. Yeah, we got it. No, we've gone over the police report like 2 or 3 times. Well, it was a Saturday, maybe, so you'd think she'd be off work. But what is it, like, give me a scenario that it matters, that they won't let me go and she's talking to work. They're not letting her go to the game, but she's out there gallivanting around, as my mom would say, 70 miles up north, going to a store, doing things. Who wasn't letting her do something? Seriously, who wasn't letting Debbie do something? Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I'll take a look at that one. Just gotta find some more emails here. Here's a theory. As weird as it is, okay, here we go. Get ready, everybody. As weird as it is, and I'll just print it and put it over here. Maybe it's not weird. Let's As weird as it is, I think she committed suicide. She got rid of all of her identifiable items. Yep, I think that. I'm wondering if she chose fire because she thought it would be harder to recognize her burned body, but it didn't turn out the way she expected. Plus, leaving her car there didn't work very well. A theory on Venmo, just a possible theory. If Amanda and her boyfriend really did move back to town just 2 days prior, then maybe Debbie and her husband fought Friday night because he didn't want them moving back in the other house he owned. Perhaps she went with Andrew and Amanda on Friday to look at another rental and then do lunch. Well, see, the perhaps part, you got to leave those things out. We don't have any idea. The key in the flower pot could have been for the rental, and the money was the down payment. Yeah, maybe that is what that part makes some sense, that the money could have been for the rental, but it's their, I mean, isn't that kind of weird though, to give your daughter the money for, you know, it goes right back to you. It's like, hey daughter, here's the money from our account, and then you send the check back into my husband. And I guess you could do that, but I mean, it's sort of weird, right? But that is kind of an interesting look there. The key in the flower pot could have been for the rental, and the money was the down payment. And they're not going to let me, so what's the other part? They're not going to let me go. That kind of does make a little sense there, but I don't know, I'll have to keep looking at that. Why do you think her car was headed back on the northbound lanes when she would have been headed south? Well, it probably just looked and saw the pull out and turned in there. Dan Carr said the same thing yesterday. I mean, nobody always has to see. That's one of those questions that it's just like, who knows, man? Somebody pulled over there. You know, it's just, it is what it is, right? There isn't really always an answer for everything. We've already gone over that many times, Mrs. Mom. Yeah. I wonder why she mentioned the key under the flower pot. The dad lives there. Right. Well, the daughter didn't live there, and as we said, maybe she was just letting her daughter know where the key was, because she wasn't really, maybe she wasn't even allowed back into the home because of all the stuff that was going on with her and her boyfriend. And the thing is, if there was a loud commotion that night, was it the mother and the daughter and the boyfriend, or was the husband actually there too? I mean, there's a larger story that other people know. Yeah, that's right, Zozo. It just went, just dead as a doornail. Thank you.
Where's the freak love? Freaked and waved for all graders for us and the lurking trolls in the back. _basic generous _basic generous _basic generous. Ocean wave.
Even the trolls get their ideas.
Ocean wave. Waving hand. Waving hand. Waving hand.
Thank you, Zozo. Wouldn't the dad let her in if she was to go to the house for some... Yeah, we already talked about that. Don't you remember that, Mrs. Mom? We brought up all those same topics. But maybe the dad wasn't going to let her in. Hey, thank you. TTJO. If you sent someone a they won't let me go, they won't let me, it implies she would know. Yeah, we already said that. But the daughter apparently, yeah, we already said all that earlier in the show, remember? All right. Yeah, we did the part about the, the daughter was absolutely shocked. Yep, Dan, probably should.
If you sent someone a they won't let me go.
Or they
No,
won't
it's
let me.
not, Boo.
It implies
It's
she
not.
should know who they are. But the daughter apparently doesn't have a clue. That's what's weird.
Yeah, we were talking about that. But it's if she's trying to make it look like a homicide, then it's not weird. She was trying to make it look like, but it seems so mundane, doesn't it, for something bad happening? Hey, wow, thank you so much. Tomorrow. Not today, but tomorrow. Maybe she'd rather have people believe someone else hurt her. Right, that's what it seems like. But I mean, the message is so, they're not going to let me go. Wouldn't you say, I'm in trouble? I don't know. It just sounds so, they're not going to let me go, love you. They are not going to let me go, love you. The answer is probably a lot simpler than it appears on that. But if it is written by somebody else, which would make it a homicide, then it's also really weird. See, the story is so much easier if you just say to yourself, okay, this is probably a homicide, a suicide. And then what you could just do is go like this. There's all these issues going on with the daughter and her boyfriend, and her husband probably hates it. There's a story, we see the picture with her black eye. Did that really happen? The police report says she fell or whatever. We don't really know. But maybe there was a lot of stuff going on at home that just wasn't great, but she always had that outward smile to everybody else, but was really just down and out all the time. And then she just decides this is it one day. She's a big fan of the Georgia Bulldogs, puts on her shirt, visor, and drives out of town, goes all the way up to a little town called Clayton. Maybe she'd already scoped out this area over here at one point. I mean, we don't really know why. Maybe she was just driving in the woods and saw this turnout and just did a little turn across the road. We don't, either way, her car ended up there. I think it's even weirder that she goes up here, the car went this way and then back that way. All right, so she goes up to the Family Dollar here. She buys the items that she's envisioned using in her own demise. She gets to the store at 2:55, buys those items. Then she exits the building at 3:09. She's sitting there, and then she starts, whatever she's doing is there's like this 8-minute period where they're in between the Venmo message. So did she discard maybe her purse, and she's sitting next to a dumpster or something like that right now with the phone, because they don't have her phone at this point. At least we don't know that they have it. And she sends this message, except it says they won't let me go, like that makes it sound like she's intentionally trying to make her daughter nervous, because apparently her daughter wasn't in a conversation with her where they aren't going to let me go made any sense to her at all. There wasn't this previous conversation, and it doesn't sound like, the husband was in a conversation related to that either. They aren't going to let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house and the blue flower pot by the door. So it sounds like it's just sort of like she had lunch with her daughter the day before and dinner with her daughter the day before. Then there was some kind of argument going on at the house, probably last straw type of thing. But it seems to me like she was just done, Then the next day she gets up. She doesn't get up. Her husband leaves and sees the car there. And then probably sometime after 1 o'clock is when she drove, like 1:30 or so, is when she drove up there. And she goes to the Family Dollar, buys those items, basically sends a note saying love you to her daughter, but she didn't send a note to her son or the husband. Who knows why people do anything. And then she drives down to that location, walks down there,
Greatest
uses the
freaks
paper
around,
towel.
The fabulous freaks.
Hey, thanks, Emily Flotilla. Then she walks down there and she sets the paper towel on fire, and she also maybe puts herself inside the tarp or inside the I don't know. I mean, what if she did a smoke inhalation, like carbon monoxide poisoning? You guys ever thought of that? Like maybe that was part of it, and then something caught on fire. Maybe she was trying to do something like that with the tarp and all that, kind of sealing things in. You think that's too crazy, or? But you can tell the story without a lot of crazy stuff going on, right? The only assumptions you have to make are that she's depressed, and then you can tell the story with not a lot of weirdness, other than, her clothing isn't at the scene, but maybe she tossed her clothing away at another location and drove down there and wore the tarp if it wasn't a clear one. I mean, obviously you're not going to be naked wearing a clear tarp. That'd be kind of strange out on the road there. What do you mean, why not use the car? Yeah, I don't know. Because that way, I think she thought she was going to be sort of hidden away down there. Which part did you Google up, Dan? What I just was talking about? The carbon monoxide thing? Nah, it's not true, Deb. That's not true at all. The suicide makes more sense than any other story that you can tell, Deb. Type in a story that doesn't have 50 different speculative points and make the murder story work. Oh yeah, well they went up there, they were waiting outside the store for her, and then they abducted her, and then because her car was seen at 5 o'clock there, right? So we already know that the window is a lot shorter. It's 3:08. Well, actually the Venmo was 3:17. That doesn't, let's just go from 3:08 to 5 o'clock. That's the window. And she's likely didn't live too much longer after she went down there. I doubt she was camping. But just try to picture how weird that would be if somebody got in the car with her and then sort of abducted her and then drove her all the way down there, killed her, and then they take all of her items and then they hitchhike home, because how would they have gotten home? Well, then you'd have to say, well, there had to have been two people. There was a car following and another person. Okay, that's great. Then why did they leave the vehicle sitting there? Because that led right to the body. See, to me, the fact that the vehicle is still sitting there and it leads right to the body means that she's the one that parked it there and there is no other person. See what I'm saying? I mean, there's so much more logic goes to the suicide part. I think it's just really obvious. I know people don't want it to be that way. I'm not saying there isn't a homicide, but the story is easier told, and that means that it makes more sense. Yeah, well, maybe she was trying to make it look like it wasn't case cracked. That's the whole point of how the crime scene was. Maybe she intentionally got rid of clothing in another place. Maybe. Could be that somebody else did it. But I just think the odds are way more in the favor. But here's what's going to happen. If it turns out it's a homicide, they're going to go, see, Gray, you were wrong. No, I wasn't wrong. I just told you 1,000 times that I just think it's way more likely it's a suicide, but I wouldn't be shocked at all. And if you come up with the right scenario, I would totally believe it that it was a homicide. I just don't have the information. But right now we have way more. The surveillance footage is very telling. It should have changed, and I think it did change law enforcement's mind a little bit, because they changed it from homicide to a death investigation. Right, Kimchi? Catch me on Montel. I don't even know what that means, Sylvia. Sounds more likely given the timeline and map route. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also think about it like this. People are saying, well, maybe she was going to the game or something. Well, the game was 4 o'clock, and for her to get all the way back home, it would have been 4:39. And she was obviously driving around, so what was she being kept from? A tailgate? Or, like what's going on there? She's doing whatever she wants to do, right? She's driving around. She's alone, they said, in her car. Law enforcement said she was alone when she pulled in here. This case is making my brain hurt. And I always notice people go, oh man, there's no way this is a suicide, but they never give you a great story in return. So if you have that great story that makes sense, that puts all the pieces together, send me an email and we'll go over it and we'll see. I like that last one though. That wasn't too bad with the there was a spare key, hold on. Maybe she was sending the message to her husband. No, not that one, the other one. Let's see. Let's see. No. Yeah, so Jen Richards, who's, one of the freaks, I tried to send her a notebook, and it got returned to me. So, hopefully, I just want to get the correct address so I can send it. I just what I do is when you send me your address, I just cut and paste and put it into a text file and then print it out and then cut it out and then tape it to the front. So if it's not correct, it's, I can't do anything about it. A car accident, what? Yeah, there was a car accident before, yeah. That's why she had a rental car. She might not have believed that the rental car was trackable, and that would have led right to her. I don't know. I mean, that part's a little bit odd. There's just a lot of oddities. Huh? What does that even mean? I don't think she tooled her life, as that means she would have burned herself or shot herself with one hand. Oh, come on, Jesus. Yeah, well, they already said it's drug related, right? So what if she went down there, took a bunch of drugs so that she was right at the verge of, like, passing out, and then lit the fire of, like, maybe she built like a cocoon type of situation where she's in it and put all the paper towels in there and lit it. And then all the plastic and everything burnt and everything, and then she got singed. But they didn't say. They said it was more like charring on her stomach. But I don't understand how people just, she's gripping the tree because maybe she was still kind of alive as she was dying. If the drugs, let's say the fire didn't actually kill her, but the drugs ended up killing her, but she was still alive for a little bit there and grabbing onto the tree. Doesn't that make some sense? Yeah. Freebasing. What? Huh? No, I'm just saying she has the blue tarp and the poncho and all the paper towels and the lighter, right? So it feels like that those are all things that you would use if you were trying to maybe burn yourself like that. Keeping... it could also be the carbon monoxide poisoning situation as well. Maybe that's the unknown drug. They can just tell that her body coloring looked like something and they have to confirm what that is. Wouldn't that be weird if it was carbon monoxide and then the fire got a little bit going more than it was supposed to? Like maybe she had herself inside of like a little closed-in shelter with a fire and just started kind of like took some drugs, was breathing in a little bit of the smoke there, and then that was her intended way to go, where it wouldn't be any pain, but then something caught on fire. So maybe the fire part is an accident with her trying to kill herself with maybe carbon monoxide or something like that. I'm just saying, you know. I mean, none of that stuff right there, what I just said, sounds far-fetched at all. It sounds, you know, here's what a killer would have to have done. Somehow, you know, even if it's a family member, they would have had to get a hold of her up north up there in Clayton when she went to the Family Dollar, and it commandeered her before, so that she would have been kidnapped, which was apparently ruled out, remember? She would have had to have been kidnapped, and then they wrote the text message, some weird cryptic thing about, or they were crazy kidnappers who let her send one last Venmo to somebody. So they sent the Venmo, and then they get in the car, they get in her car with her, but then there's also a trailing vehicle. Then they get her down there, they strip her clothes, they burn her, then they, they would have to go back up, leave her down there. She was maybe barely alive, grabbed onto a tree. Then they get up and they drive away together. But they didn't think, oh my God, we should move the rental car too, because if we move the rental car, how would anybody ever find where she was? Yeah. It's just a hard one. It's a hard one. Why not just OD itself on... Yeah, I mean, right. Why not just sit at your house? Because I think she wanted to be alone and hidden. And maybe she was trying to double whammy. Like the drugs might not kill me, but I'll make sure there's carbon monoxide too. Then you say, why not do it in your car? Well, I don't think she wanted to be found and do it at home either. Could she have been afraid she was going to be fired and meant her bosses aren't going to let... No. Oh, yeah, come on. Let me read that again. Well, yesterday, daughter, my people at work, they said that I was worried about being fired. And guess what? They're not going to let me go. Love you. Here's a key in the blue flower pot by the door. Okay, I mean, okay, I have to say that is possible. Just extremely, like, it just doesn't seem very likely. Pretty clever, though. Pretty clever. Yeah, you're doing emoji bombing in here. Nobody's interested, all right? Do something else. Let's see. Yeah, she fell down the embankment. All right. Right, go ahead. You got to send me the theories. What do we got here? All right, let's see.
The last communication from the missing person was a transfer to the daughter of $2,385 with a text message tied to the Venmo transfer stating, "They won't let me go. There is a key to the house underneath the flower pot." The last communication from the...
TTGO just sent this. The boyfriend of Debbie Collier's daughter has spoken out after the mother found dead. The 59-year-old was mysteriously found dead in a ravine in rural Georgia. Andrew Gigerich, the boyfriend of Collier's daughter, Amanda. Where's that playing? Well, now I want to watch that. Now I want to watch that one. Collier was found a quarter mile off the road. She was naked and partially burned. According to the incident report, she was, yeah, we know all that. Although they have not officially disclosed the reason for her death, investigators soon determined that it was, no, they didn't. See, this is a lie right here. That right there is a lie. That's never been said by anybody in law enforcement. Everybody keeps repeating it. Well, as long as that person repeated it, I'm going to repeat it too. Sources say law enforcement never said it was a homicide. They said they have no information to suggest that it was a suicide or a kidnapping at that time, and we're going to investigate it as a homicide. You see how these people twist shit around for their own glory or whatever the hell you want to call it? I think it's garbage. They claim to have ruled out a possible kidnapping last week. Nobody has been identified. No, they didn't say that either. Nobody has been identified as a suspect or a person of interest. Police investigated Burden's home a few days after Collier's body was discovered, but it is unknown if she is a person of interest because authorities chose not to make copies of the search warrant because the investigation is still continuing. Little is known about Bearden's private life outside of the murder of her mother and her lengthy criminal record. Fox News does point out that the prosecution abandoned their case against her. Additionally, Gigerich has a criminal history that stretches back to 2020 when he entered a guilty plea to all of his stuff is related to her, though. Pleaded 3 counts of domestic assault and disorderly conduct. He was given a probationary period at the time, but a year later he was in prison for 10 days on fresh domestic-related charges. Following the DUI arrest, he also entered a guilty plea to reckless driving. Police are still looking into what happened, even though they have not yet named any suspects. Her 36-year-old daughter, Amanda Bearden, who also has a lengthy criminal history dating back more than 10 years, is one of the individuals they have looked into. She is engaged in countless instances of domestic violence throughout the years with numerous ex-boyfriends. See, but that's totally unrelated right here. Like, this right here is nothing. Having domestic issues with her boyfriends has nothing to do with, like, oh, and then she went and killed her mom. Okay, forget it. After a fight with her then-boyfriend, Andrew Gigerich, she was charged in 2021 with falsely reporting a crime. That could play in sort of the way she's able to just make it seem like, you know, she can trick people, let's put it that way. This was her most recent charge. As authorities continue to look into Debbie Collier's mysterious murder, her husband opened up for the first time about the death. She was a beautiful woman, and I loved her, Debbie's husband, Steve Collier, told the news outlet. It has been a long 2 weeks, and I'm very tired. My wife was a wonderful person. I'm not sure. I can't find what you said was in here. The 22-year-old, yeah, that's a different story there. So I don't know what the part about Debbie Collier's live update, daughter's boyfriend speaks out after final. I didn't see anything. All right, let's see. Okay, somebody sent me 3 scenarios here. All right, here comes 3 scenarios. Shopping trip north, possibly a shopping trip to buy blue tarp and I don't think so. Shopping trip north, possibly a drive. Hold on, let me cut and do a screenshot of this. Then we can do it on the screen. Yeah, this one says 3 different possible scenarios going on here that seem related but maybe aren't. They're holes that I can't reconcile. Shopping trip north, possibly a drive to purchase drugs or something else not related. While there, she stopped to get things for a football game or some other outdoor activity. She started driving and pulled over to take the drugs, decided not to head back home or the game, so she sent money to daughter. Yeah, I don't know. That was a lot of holes in it, that one. The Venmo to the daughter, the Venmo money was for the daughter to pay for whatever daughter needed the money for. Could be drugs or something else. The tote to daughter was let her know. The note to the daughter was to let her know she wasn't going to make it back in time. For what? What are the keys to? House or something else? I mean, that part's a little interesting. It's like, well, no, that was to the house. The note said the keys to the house are in the blue. We have to go with that. Scene of her death, she grabbed the tote bag, put the drugs in there, and walked into the woods to get high. She was sitting on the tarp and was messed up and started messing with lighting the paper towels. I mean, I'm kind of picturing what you're saying. She accidentally caught her shirt on fire, jumped up and ripped the burning clothes off. Then, due to burn pain, she took more drugs. She ended up ODing on accident. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's like, see, when you read stuff like this, it's like, that's more like an imagination. Like you're having these visions of what you kind of picture something and then you say it. What I like to do in the stories, thank you for sending that one in, but you got to try to make it so you're using the facts in the case to, in the theory. I mean, I know what you're saying here, but almost like 90% of the stuff is speculation in the middle of the story, which obviously we're obviously speculating on stuff. Let's see what this one says. If the daughter was camping in the area because she was kicked out of the house, allegedly, then the purchase in that area makes total sense as camping items she was bringing to her daughter. But why would her daughter need to camp 70 miles away if she was kicked out of the house? We don't know that she was kicked out of the house either. Then the purchase in that area. So it could have been something. Here's what I think is probably a deal. Like the parents have always been supporting their daughter and trying to get her away from the boyfriend. And it was working, they got the restraining order, but then they're still creeping in their lives. And then they go on this trip and they come back and they're back together, living together. And it probably made the dad irate. And maybe the mother felt like a failure for raising a kid that would be back together with the same guy that was doing all this crap. Anyways, then the purchase in that area makes total sense as camping items she was bringing to her daughter, likely per request. The texts make the most sense if sent not by Debbie, but rather by the daughter after a murder, giving them exactly what they want, permission to return home, and a red herring that they won't let me go to throw the trail away from them. Yeah, I mean, so that's not a bad, an attempt to make everything work. Except the part that you're doing is completely inventing a scenario where the daughter's living in the camp way up there, and then the mother goes to visit her and buys her these items, but it was really then the daughter then killed her. But let me ask you this though, in that scenario, how did Amanda get back to her camping ground? Because she would have been in the car with her mother, right? Or are you saying that she had the mother pull over there and do it like a U-turn in the road? I mean, it's just it's hard to make things work. Yeah, hold on, I'll be back in a minute. One more, here we go. That might be the best Honey Crisp I've ever had. Thank you. Oh man, it's Corvette Sally's birthday? Jesus. Alright, here we go. Is she a channel member? Hold on a second. There you go, everybody. Look at that. That's, remember that Mary Lou picture? All right, Mary Lou, you got to sing happy birthday to Corvette Sally. Right? Is that who you're saying it is? I don't see what you said again. Now I can't find it. Whose birthday is it? Okay, so that's Mary Lou up there. Remember? Corvette Sally 1. Okay. All right, Mary Lou, you have to sing happy birthday.
I don't want to, Gray J.
Doesn't that fit that face perfectly? Yeah. Well, sing it anyways.
Okay, gee. Happy birthday to Corvette Sally 1. Happy birthday to Corvette Sally 1. Happy birthday to Corvette Sally 1. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. That was terrible, Mary Lou.
That's not very nice, Timmy J.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was pretty good. Good job, Mary Lou. Good job.
Thanks, Gray.
Oh, yeah. Yep, she was, she gave it a whirl, as it were. She gave it a whirl. Yeah. Let me see if I got any more theories out here. Yeah, I mean, somebody saying the fact that the daughter's saying that she drove around for an hour and a half to 2 hours was, you know, that's exactly how long it would take, 1.5 hours to drive back to the area. So that sounds suspicious to people, but that is like what she's saying. I mean, we've already, you know, had conversations about that. So somebody wrote in, I'm not sure, Gray, why she killed her mother, but when she says she was driving around for an hour and a half looking for her mother, she actually needed that time to drive back from where she killed her mother. So, but here's what you're saying then, is that, like, she could have done all that really quick, but how would she get home? So she had her mother pull over to a weird turnout, and then she was in her own car following, and so there's a lot of things that don't really work there. Right, an Uber in the middle of nowhere, 60-something miles away. Yeah, 50 miles. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I mean, it does sound suspicious if you want to put it in there. Like, oh, wow, she said she was driving around for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And man, check it out. That's exactly how much time it would take to drive back. Yeah, it would, especially if what she said, they won't let me go, wasn't meaningful to you in context anywhere. Like, let's say earlier in the day that see, Debbie and Amanda were having a conversation about, well, you know what, we should go to a movie on Saturday. What do you think? Wouldn't that be cool if we can get it next Saturday? Let's go to a movie on Sunday. It's at 2 o'clock. It's a double feature. It's really cool right there in the middle of the city of Athens. And then the mother writes back and says, they're not going to let me go. Love you. Hey, tell you what, there's a key. The key to the house is in the blue flower pot by the door. And here's the money that I said I was going to send you anyway. You know, but she doesn't have to say that. They just know that. Like, let's say they're talking and they're supposed to meet somewhere, but she also was going to give her daughter some money for something. And then it all just kind of makes sense. The text message. But then nothing else makes sense around the text message. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But I'm sort of looking forward to doing something else, to be honest with you. But what's weird about her driving around looking for her mom? All the places that they go and stuff. But it seems like she went out of her way to say that, so that part's interesting. Don't you guys admit, like, Lanky Tor is as good as any bot that you could ever have? Except for the super chat part of it. Well, let's move on to something else if you want to. I feel like we need more information. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything else tonight on anything. We're almost at 3 hours now coming up. But let me go over some of these articles from today at least. We'll let the wild speculators, I mean, that's her work page. So here's the Fox News article with the bullet shells, like right there. Not a shell, an actual bullet, not a shell, sorry. So there we go. And apparently that was 20 to 30 yards from where police earlier this month spotted the remains. And guess what, man? There's been people out there all over the place. Who knows? I mean, it looks kind of new-ish based on how shiny it is. Collier, 59, vanished on September 10th, according to authorities, minutes after she was last seen alive. The following day, Sirius XM contacted the local sheriff's office to report a missing person's vehicle in the vicinity. They determined it was Collier's rented Chrysler Pacifica, and after a search of the area, discovered her naked body with charring on the abdomen and grasping at a tree, but tied to a tree, according to Law and Crime. Down the path, at the root of the burned-out fallen tree, were remains of fire items that Collier purchased. Remnants of a fire and items that Collier purchased before she went missing. Burned paper towels, melted bits of blue tarp, and a small plastic buckle, possibly from her red tote bag, were scattered. So, I think the red things that we see are from her tote bag, not her jersey. Like this right here, people, there's a channel out there. It's like, oh my God, I think that's part of her jersey. Oh my God, I think that's part of her jersey. Okay, well, it is red, but look how it's kind of plasticky. I know that, to me, this feels like this is plastic right here. Like this is probably part of the tote bag. Why not go with that? They say right here, that's why they're saying it. Burn remnants of what appear to be the Georgia Bulldog jersey. Oh my God. Well, how come? Why couldn't that just as easily be the red tote bag that was left? It was kind of near the fire. Maybe it is her jersey, but it's like you don't know it is, but you're suggesting it because it makes the story more sensationalistic. See, the thing is, sensationalism sells. I think the design that we're looking at here looks more like how a tote bag would be. The Haversham County Sheriff's Office said Collier's death happened between when she left the Family Dollar at 3:09 and 12:45. I think it's much sooner than that. 12:45 when her car was found the next day. No way. However, after more than 2 weeks, they have not publicly named a suspect. Also, on Tuesday, Andrew Geigerich, the live-in boyfriend of Collier's daughter, Bearden, told Fox News Digital that the couple had no involvement in the slaying and was living in fear, sleeping behind barricaded doors. I mean, that could be true. The funny thing is we all don't want to believe them, so we just completely discount every single thing that these guys say, and yet what he's saying right there could actually be true, right? We just don't like them, so everything they're saying is false. We do that in every case. Now, we don't know if she was stealing money for her boyfriend. He was stealing money from her boyfriend. Yeah, I thought you said for. Yeah, from. Yeah, he was definitely stealing money from her boyfriend. Yeah. Well, that's what he says. He claims that. I mean, he's got to be one of the dumbest people on the planet, though. It's like he's talking to the police saying, man, every time I get my paycheck, she takes $500 out of it before I even get there. Well, how about this? Change your freaking bank account. You ever thought of doing that? Change your bank account and start putting your money into a different account. Then she's not going to be able to get to it. It's your fault. You're with you guys are just dysfunctional. Yeah. I just don't think she did anything to her mom. This whole story about, it's the daughter up there. That is interesting, the part about a tip that led to somebody saying that it was her daughter that was at that store. I mean, that was pretty weird. Yeah, he is pretty small, I think. Remember the tip that they said, we got a tip that the daughter was at the Family Dollar. How did that come about, man? That is very curious on that. And then all of a sudden, no, it's not the daughter, it's the mom. But who's the one that gave you the tip? Oh, good night, Lanky Tor. Thanks for all the kind words. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I got any more emails. Maybe it's as simple as punctuation. She's saying they will not let me go, and then sends her mother and tells her where the key is. She says they will not let, they will not. Oh, let's see. They will not. Yeah, because she doesn't put commas or periods anywhere, right? They are not. Period. Well, let's see. What did she say? They're not going to. Let me go. Love you. There's a key. That's what she's saying. Yeah. You know what? That is actually that is possible. Because everyone's assigning the meaning by putting commas where we feel like it. Look at it. There's not one period or comma in that deal there. But what if it's they are not. Let's see. Yeah, they're not. Let's see. They're not going to. Okay, let me go. I love you. Oh wow. Maybe she was saying, "Hey, those people might be dangerous," and she said, "Oh, what if the daughter sent her a message before?" Well, let's just wildly speculate now. The daughter sent her a message before saying, "Mom, don't go visit those people. They're crazy. They're gonna kill you." And she said, "They're not going to. Let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." I mean, it's the worst punctuated text message in history. It's like, they're not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key in the house by the, it's like, we don't know where she meant to say it, right? They are not going to. Okay? Let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house in the blue flower pot, all right? Jeez. That'd be pretty funny if that was it, right? Wouldn't that be wild? Yes, punctuation is very important. For example, listen to this. What's set up in the road ahead? What's set up on the road ahead? You see how that just totally changes the meaning? Here's 2000 and a key. I'm off to myself in my paper towel fire. Yep. My theory is, I don't really have a exact theory, but I think the information that we have points to more of a suicide than a murder. Okay, and I'm not ruling out that there was a homicide. I'm just saying that the information we have now definitely points that way, and I think law enforcement has also shifted themselves because they were doing a homicide investigation and have now switched to a death investigation, which is totally different. Has a totally different connotation and meaning. Hey guys, down the hill. Yeah. That's just guys down the hill. Hey guys down the hill. Yeah, what's yours? Sassfras Kath. You have to actually come up with a theory that uses the elements and it makes sense. Changes it, hey dirty? I don't know what that means. We got grandma versus eat grandma. So there you go, everybody. The text message now reads, they are not going to. Let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door, okay? Leave me the hell alone. I got shit to do. All right, there we go. I think we've nailed it, everybody. Case solved at this point. We saw Sassmere in here just recently. All right. Anyways, I think I'm gonna just end the show here. It's so stagnant. It's crazy. Doesn't matter what the show's been on there for 3 hours now. What are we at? Yeah, 2 hours and. Has it only been 2 hours and 43 minutes? Ah, shit. I'll keep going. Yeah, it's hard to do because we don't have the information. I think what we need to do now is just wait. Today there was a new, the little bullet, and there's a lot of theories out there. Some of them are pretty decent, like she's just saying they're not letting me go to like an event or something, and then the daughter. The only part that doesn't make that valid is that she's sending the Venmo to her daughter, knowing that her daughter's going to get that, and her daughter panicked when she read, "They're not going to let me go." And if they had been talking about some event that she was going to go to, it would have made complete sense to her in context, and she wouldn't have panicked and freaked out. Here, I gotta put everybody's name in here. Thank you to Sarita, Amber Maiden, Cheyenne R. I think that's in there. Hold on, gotta get that. Didn't see that. Cheyenne, let's see. Eugenie, Cheyenne R, Eugenie, Mag, Lanky Tor, Charleston Amy, Tiffany W, Agony Jones, Tina Susser, Amber Maiden, earlier was a cat eye donation. Agony Jones, Tina Susser, Allie Kate, Zozo, Tiffany, TTJO, and then Tamara, Cat Eye, and Emily Flotilla. Very slow coverage out there, you guys. Very few people. All right, so we got that, and then we're going to move over to the PayPal, we had Charleston Amy. Get that in there. Charleston Amy. Then we've got thanks for all you do, Exo Pancakes. Is that the name? I'll put that in there. Thank you. And then also Joan Keller, thank you. Oh, and then I think there was wasn't there oh, there's a Cash App here for Rhonda. Thank you. And then there was also another Cash App from Karen. I already got her in there. So. Okay, well, I think the wheel's ready to go. Your dog doesn't like the fly? Crazy. All right, here we go. We're going to do for a notebook here. That's about all we can do. So, all right, where is it? Here we go, everybody. I am right now, I'm just leaning. The facts show that it's likely a suicide. However, I can't rule out something else because there could be something weird. That's all there is to it. I just don't know why people go down these wild roads putting all these things together that aren't really, you can't put them together. You know how circumstantial evidence strings work, where that's a real piece of information, that's a real piece, that's a real piece, that's a real piece, that's a real piece, that's a real piece. Oh wow, it tells a story and it's real. What these guys do is they take something that's not true, not verified, not verified, not verified, not verified, put it together. Oh, a story! Yay, that's a good one. It's terrible. All right. So anyways, here we go. And here's the spin. For the notebook. Oh, look at its mag again. God, that's crazy. I think it's just like the karma. But she probably wants me to spin again, so we'll do that. Unless she's used up her notebook. If she does, I'll just send her one anyways. But here we go, we're spinning again. Karen White wins the notebook. You gotta send me your address, and then I'll send you the notebook on the next batch. Alright, there you go. Oh, shit. So what do you guys, I mean, don't you think that's a reasonable way to do it? I spun again, Mag. I knew it. Yeah, don't you think that's a reasonable way to do it? I think most people that are rational see it. Well, now you don't have to just be rational, but I think most people believe that, like the information that just came out definitely points more to her, because everything works. The car being by itself, she buys the exact items that are there. It just looked like her life wasn't really that great with the family and everything, and it's just, I don't know. Yeah, when you see those things put together, and the fact that she's 70 miles north of her home, she doesn't buy those same items right next to her house. Kind of makes it seem like she wanted to be away from her family and be alone, and maybe make it hard to track her. She probably knew she'd be found at some point, but didn't want to be tracked right away, so maybe discarded her phone, and then maybe even didn't want to have her clothing and her ID or anything like that, so it might take a while, but it didn't work out the way she wanted. Like, maybe after she died, she thought her whole body would burn and nobody would be able to tell who she was, but it didn't really happen like that. So anyways, that's just kind of where I am. I'm not saying that there isn't the possibility, because I've seen cases where weird stuff, then all of a sudden you get one piece of information that flips everything back the other way again. See what I'm saying? Like, right now, the surveillance footage flipped everything dramatically in one direction, and then another piece of information might then flip everything back over. Like, oh wow, we see so-and-so in the same town right around that time on a camera. Boom. That just absolutely shifts everything immediately at that moment. Yeah, it is. Just like the Schnee-Oberholzer case, Mag. Isn't that one crazy? The stuff that actually went on in that case is more interesting than somebody making up something. Or hell, Chad and Lori Daybell. That was their a real story. You don't need to invent anything. Didn't they release the video of yeah, they said it was her. Yeah, there are people that are questioning that the woman in the video at the Family Dollar store are morons, okay? I'm just going to tell you that right now. There are people that just can't wait for the next conspiracy to come up, because that would be a conspiracy there. If you believe that that's not her, and it's like her daughter or somebody like that, you are a crazy wacko, okay? And that's just the truth. And if that makes you feel like unsubscribing, go ahead and do so, please. I beg you, okay? Because it makes you dumb, and I like to sort of weed out the dumb people and have people with brains that can think. Now, whether you think it's a murder or not, I don't care which direction you want to go. I was just kind of surprised the other night when the surveillance footage didn't shift as many people over, but it is what it is, okay? Oh, I don't care if I hurt their feelings. It's just they're the people that perpetuate the garbage that's out there. Okay, they're the ones that make the crazy stuff become a thing. And there's actually YouTube channels that's how they think. And man, it's embarrassing as hell. Yeah, but he doesn't need to say anything, Tracy. Why does the husband need to say anything? It is her. They already know it's her. You know? Why should the husband need to even come forward and say anything? They've already verified it's her. It is her. Now watch. Clone, some lady that looks exactly like it has been arrested for pretending to be. Yeah. And then that'll make me dumb. Yeah, they look totally different. But now people are saying, well, okay, great, it's not the daughter, but I don't think that's her anyways. It doesn't look like her. Okay, wow. So the one theory didn't work, where you thought maybe it was the daughter, and then all of a sudden, okay, yeah, that's all right. Let me see. Oh yeah. Hey, look. It is not even her at all. Look at the way she comes in there. She's hiding with the visor and the... Have darker hair. Yeah, there's nothing. You don't even need to say the reasoning. One of them has like the skinny legs, right? And the other one doesn't. It's totally different. Yeah, who cares who's taller or anything? That's not even what it is. Law enforcement already said in an article. What does that mean? Bye-bye to everyone. The main thing is it was a horrific way to die, I'm quite sure. Yeah, that's true. Are you going to sleep, Gail? Or were you just somebody that believed it was it? You guys don't need to keep trying to explain it. The article already said... Let me pull it out. I'll get this article. Hold on one second. Just to nip it all in the bud, we're going to open this up really quick before the show ends. That's right here. So this article right here we go. It says, Collier was found burned and naked in a wooded area off Habersham County, September 11th around 1 p.m. The area was found about 13 miles away. Police initially said they were investigating her death as a homicide. They now say it's a death investigation. So there you go right there. They switched it from homicide to death investigation after that surveillance footage, which should be a hint now to people. The surveillance video shows Collier enter a Family Dollar in Clayton. In the video, the victim appears to be calm and not in fear. I totally agree with that. All video footage obtained from the store and surrounding business reflect that the victim was alone in the van at the time she visited the store. This is a law enforcement quote. See the quotes around there. That should make you go, oh, wow, she was alone. Investigators said the video helps them narrow the window for Collier's death to sometime between 3:09 and 12:44. Deputies initially said they got a tip that Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, was at the Family Dollar. That still is a weird thing. On the 10th, investigators, however, determined that Bearden was not at the store. Okay? So is that enough to... but here's the thing, everybody. I'm relying on the reporting of these people because that's not a quote right there. They did say investigators, however, determined, but these are the same people that type in investigators have ruled out suicide, and no, they haven't. They've never ruled out anything. So I don't know 100% if this statement here is true because they're not quoting it, but it does sound like they were talking to investigators and they determined that Bearden was not at the store. Okay, and this is WSB TV Atlanta, Channel 2, a legitimate news outlet. It's not like the Daily Mail or something. All right, so that's it, you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and unless there's some startling breaking news, I'm going to have to move on to something else. But I hope the support for the channel is better tomorrow. If you guys could hit the like and share button, that would be great. Share it with people, hit the like button, because hopefully on the 30th we're going to get to the $100,000 mark to charity since 2020, and there's a lot of people out there that have helped out dramatically to make that happen. You guys are always helping out with super chats and the channel memberships and everything like that, the PayPals. And, so a lot of you guys help out all the time. I really appreciate it. But without your support, that stuff never happens. And right now we got these DNA cases that we got to fund. So probably for the next month, the mid-month donation, I'll probably go to Texas EquiSearch. And then maybe the next month we'll send something to Rain again. But the bulk of the money has to go to the DNA fund to shore up the cases that we're doing. We've got... I think 6 total. That's pretty crazy, but pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. So thank you guys very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gregor's gonna give another lecture. Crime corrector, nectar, and I'm always gonna be a protector. Cool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without a blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so
I'm gonna serve it to you straight without a stretcher.
Hey, it was good to see you, Mag. Hope you can come in here more often. Like the old days, man. But, alright, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And don't let the wackos try to get you to see something that doesn't exist. If it makes sense, then it makes sense. But you got to remember all the little details out there. And always use those, the facts that are available, use those as a Rosetta Stone, if you will, almost. Like they tell you something, you go, that doesn't make sense because, boom. Well, maybe she was driving out there to go to the football game. No, the football game is in the town that she lives in. She was 70 miles away. Oh, okay, well, maybe she was there to buy the equipment for the game. Well, there was 3 Family Dollar stores in Athens itself. Why didn't she go to those? Oh, good point. Maybe she... You get what I'm saying? It just goes on and on. So, always challenge people. Don't worry about... people do it to me all the time. And if you get me, you get me. It's like, oh, wow, that's a good point. But if you don't, you don't. Yeah, so that's just how it is. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. See you guys tomorrow. And be safe out there.